Hey everybody, it's Patrick, and I'm back from a long time. I'm trying to make a little bit of a comeback, more possibly on Steemit, but it's hard to stay away from my cryptocurrency channel when Bitcoin runs up to $20,000. I thought it'd be more wise to come in instead of coming in right when everything's good, to come in to reassure people when it's down that it's still good technology, it's still things we need, it's still something we need, it still serves a purpose in our society. Obviously, watching it go up to 20K, I was really back into it, but my wife kept getting questions. She's a nurse at a hospital, and of course, a lot of doctors now are investing in Bitcoin, and I didn't want to leave them hanging. I like to give advice because I've just been in Bitcoin for such a long time, and but I'm busy, and I thought about doing some kind of meetup at a library, but at that point, I'm giving out advice and doing that. I'm like, should I charge money for this so I can, compensate my time being given? If I'm charging money, I'm breaking my advice or tip rule number 1, which is don't pay for advice. My fear was the suits would start coming in when Bitcoin got up this high, and they still might. Basically, people that were dissing the technology, saying it wasn't ever it's going to zero, it's dead, over and over again. Those people I can see trying to capitalize on the run up of Bitcoin. Plus, there's other online courses out there. Now, if you don't want to take the time researching on YouTube, then maybe these courses would be good for you, or getting financial advice is a good decision for you. But that's the whole thing about Bitcoin, is it's empowering, that you can be in charge of your own funds, your own investments, and things of that sort. So one thing that I would go in, if you're new to Bitcoin, I wouldn't go and spend money trying to learn about it. Just take your time, look up articles. There's tons of Reddit posts. Now, not everything on those on YouTube videos or Reddit posts are actual facts. So it's a little thing, but do your research. There's a lot of good people out there that are trying to get out good advice. The second rule or piece of advice that I have for you is do your own research. You'll hear this over and over again in the crypto sphere on people's YouTube channels, and you shouldn't just want to invest in Bitcoin because, well, I want to double my money, or I want to triple my money. I want my that's a good reason to get interested in it, but and that could be a result of getting into Bitcoin, but it's not always a guarantee. And you should really look into the technology of why you want to invest in Bitcoin. One of the best reasons to invest in Bitcoin is because it's trusted, it's secure, and it's deflationary, meaning there's a limited supply. So as opposed to an inflated currency, having a deflated currency allows you to keep value, basically. I don't know if everybody knows, but how inflation works, and basically the government is printing off dollars, making the dollars in your pocket worth less. Whereas in Bitcoin, cannot be duplicated. It cannot be created other than one process, and that's mining. And once the set amount of Bitcoin has been created, no more can be created. So it's a limited resource, making it deflationary. That is my number one reason why I think Bitcoin will succeed in the future. I think government, their issuance of currency is flawed. And I don't necessarily think of like Bitcoin trying to take over the world and overthrow the dollar. I don't think they would never let that, and I don't think that's the whole point of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is more of just a competition. It's something. It gives you another option of, if you wanted to just save money and not put it into investments or the stock market or gold or silver, you can put it into Bitcoin. And I think the safetiness and the hugeness of it gives it its value. So another piece of advice or a rule that I could give you is do not day trade. It's very common for people to see the price fluctuations in Bitcoin and want to capitalize that. However, 90% of day traders lose money, even if you're swing trading, unless you actually have experience trading in the stock market, trading in Forex, other currencies. I would not try to trade Bitcoin. Just because you could see the price fluctuations doesn't mean you're going to be able to capitalize it and call it. However, if you want to take a long-term investment and take 5% maybe and try to play around with that, that's all that I suggest you actually play with. Now you can, get trading books and learn techniques and stuff like that, and then maybe start to do it. But until then, it just looks a lot easier than it actually is. Another thing, a good time to buy, they have charts of when, and I'll put one up here, of when, the excitement goes and you start to get optimistic first. I think it's optimism first, and then, excitement, and then euphoria, and that's when the price is at its very top. When you hear someone saying Bitcoin is at an all-time record high, you don't want to buy. You should be looking more to sell than you are to buy. And now usually these all-time highs, they go on for a little bit and keep going up higher and higher. And you can wait a little bit, but eventually when something goes up, it's got to correct. And it's the hardest, and it's a psychological thing, and it's really hard it's easy to say buy low, sell high, but when a government comes down and bans the currency like China did, it's hard to buy it because you feel like, oh my gosh, it might be down for the count. Oh no, this big government, that's going to cut off a huge amount of investment potential. Bitcoin has been around for 10 years, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Another thing, a piece of advice or rule is don't panic sell. The expression is HODL. It's HODL. They basically means it was a mistype from somebody in a chat forum when they were just basically trying to say hold Bitcoin, and then the community has adopted that term. They say it stands for hold on for dear life. Once you've made an investment, if you happen to buy towards the top, you don't want to, sell it. You want to wait for the next wave up before you sell it, so you don't lose. And then once again, my buddy that bought, heard me talking about it at $250 and was sick of missing out. Bought in at the height at $1,600. Well, he kept that investment for 2 years and doubled his money, waiting patiently, not panic selling, holding the coin. Now, can holding get in trouble? Yeah, it's possible that, you shouldn't blindly just, no matter what the news is, no matter what's going on, say, I'm just going to hodl. But it is overall a pretty good piece of advice. Number 5 kind of goes along with hodling a little bit. If you really believe in the technology and you believe that we need a currency that doesn't get, or it's not even a currency at this point because of transactions, they're working on that, the Lightning Network and all that good stuff. But right now it's just a store of value that's deflationary. Once again, I think we need that in the world. I think it's very important. So if you think that's a good investment at, 13,000, 17,000, 20,000, wherever you bought in at, if it goes to 8,000, or now I think the lowest it went down was like 6,999 or somewhere in that range, right around the $7,000 mark. You want to buy some more. And if you put a big investment in, maybe not make that one as big as an investment, but it's like the coin is going on sale when it goes up so high and then comes back down. So you should buy that. They call it buying the dips. And if you really believe in technology, you really believe that we need a deflationary store of value, you should buy it on the dips, and eventually it'll go back up. Coming in at number 6 is keep your Bitcoins in offline wallets. This also includes any other cryptocurrencies that you're currently holding. If there's a long-term investment and you don't plan on selling it anytime soon, leaving it on the exchange can be very dangerous. I personally learned from this through Mt. Gox. I lost at the Bitcoin's price over $75,000 worth of Bitcoin. Once again, that's at record high. At the time, it was way less than that. So at the kind of time, I kind of wrote it off, and I just lost a couple of Bitcoin, a couple $100, but turning out to be worth thousands of dollars. So it can be a huge mistake. Any online exchange is not there. There's no way to hold them liable. Any one of them, including one of the biggest and the best, Coinbase, could get hacked. I'm not saying it hasn't. Personally for me, I left a little bit of money in Coinbase. They left it. there the whole time. There was no attacks. I never lost anything. They actually go through methods of storing most of their cryptos offline and only, take what they need, what they're trading with at the time. I'm sure other exchanges do that as well. But just recently, a big exchange, one of the, I think it's in the top 3 exchanges, Binance, shut down for it was probably a day and a half. I'm not too sure exactly on the time frame, but it was well over 24 hours. And then there was people saying that they were hacked, and then if you had thousands of dollars on that exchange, I mean, that's obviously a time where you're going to be very, very nervous. So look into the Trezor, the Nano Ledger. I think there's the Nano Ledger is one of the other ones. There's also paper wallets you can do. You can also keep them on your computer from just running the Bitcoin protocol itself, which is pretty safe. But then, if you have it on there, there's going to be people trying to attack it. Where it's in cold storage, it's offline. There's pretty much no one can get it besides a physical thief breaking into your house. So obviously hide that well as well. And number 6 leads perfectly into number 7, which is don't invest more than you can afford to lose. When Bitcoin has recently taken this price dip, my wife was telling me about the people that were complaining about it, and it's just part of the deal. What goes up must come down. And if you're in there for too much, you get really negative when the price is down. That's a one good thing, as I've never became a Bitcoin millionaire, but I never gambled with money I couldn't afford to lose. So either way, out of Bitcoin, I ended up making some profits on money that I could afford to lose. And yeah, did I miss out on, if I think I figured it out at $250 when I was really into Bitcoin. If I would have, took a second mortgage against the house for $50,000 and held that, it would have been worth, 3.5 billion or million. I'm sorry. So I could have been a millionaire, but who's going to take the chance of mortgaging their house? It's overextending yourself. It's something you shouldn't do, and it's going to help you stay calmer when the price fluctuates in the downwards direction. On to number 8. Another good piece of advice is diversification. Although it doesn't always matter, usually when Bitcoin starts selling off, so do a lot of the alt currencies, which are the other cryptocurrencies that are out there. They start going down as well. Although the second biggest cryptocurrency that is trying to take the lead from Bitcoin is Ethereum. Ethereum has been proven at times to be less volatile than Bitcoin. So it's a good idea if you want to get into cryptos to spread out. Once again, doing your own research. If you really don't want to do your own research, you look at the top 10 coins. Obviously those ones have good value, and that is why they're up there. I don't really recommend buying blindly and just trying to guess. There's been a lot of study on the psychology of the markets, and a lot of people have been before Bitcoin started retracing. A lot of people were buying just cheap coins because they think they're getting in early and they think they're going to go up, but not all of these coins is going to have significant value in the future. So you're not going to get the Bitcoin gains. Now, if it's one thing, if you know somebody in cryptocurrency and there's a new currency coming out and people are telling you the reasons why it's going to be big, what they plan to do, then maybe you might want to get into that if it's cheap. But overall, you should stick with ones that have been proven, ones that have either a business model that are already producing a service, or ones that have a lot of potential in doing so in the future. Ethereum is a huge one that you should be looking into next because it's the number 2 cryptocurrency right now. Number 9 is a super important one, and it's basically, you could phrase it as 2 different ways. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Or you can take it this way: stay away from lending platforms. There's these things out there. I think just about all of them have been shut down now. But basically, they come out and say, we have trading bots that can trade for us, and even when Bitcoin's down, we can still get you 1 to 2% of your money. And if you no math, compounded interest of 1 to 2% a day on a large amount of money is going to add up really, really fast. Recently, the biggest one was BitConnect, where they were promising these returns, and basically it was just a pyramid Ponzi scheme where they would take in new money and pay off the older investors, and eventually they just went kapooey. The currency went down to zero. And when you're looking for advice on YouTube, you know, this coin is going to grow by 10, you know, times the amount and all that stuff. No one really knows what's going to happen with price action. So basically, a lot of those, either they could be to somebody that really believes in the project, or they could be investors and they want to pump the price of the coin. So they come out with a bunch of positive news on YouTube. You know, it doesn't mean these people are always lying, but if it sounds too good to be true, kind of take it with a grain of salt. And another good piece of advice, especially for beginning investors, is to stay away from ICOs. Yes, ICOs usually have a big, tremendous payoff. If you have somebody that you know, or someone that's giving you really good advice, you can take their advice and maybe get into ICOs. But ICOs are hard; they get hacked, and a lot of these they're more just pumping up. Instead of having good ideas, they're just pumping up these initial coin offerings, like this is going to be the next big thing, and they might or might not deliver. So I think overall, ICOs tend to be a little risky. Whereas once again, if they have really good function, they're going to be around, and there's going to be other opportunities to invest into that currency when it's been established and the market has maybe test its value. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I hope they got some useful information. If you've been in Bitcoin for a long time, please make a comment if I've missed anything. If there's any other good advice that can be out there, I'll make sure I'll try to pin it to the top. As well as let me know if this helped you. If you have any questions, feel free. If you want to support me, sign up to Steemit. It takes about a week for your account to get verified, but I would really appreciate a vote up on Steemit and a follow over there as well as I'll be coming out with more cryptocurrencies and just the way I see the market and some of my thoughts and opinions. So I really appreciate you watching the video, and have a great day.